Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavai Om Shanti 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 Private translation.
Simultânea, tradução simultânea, desde a mesa.
Percebes a voz em inglês? Tudo ok?
Sim,
Sabe?
tudo.
Não precisa ver alguma coisa.
So, we've been, these talks, we kind of go through different topics, different steps. One of the topics was about the different dimensions of the mind. Different dimensions of the mind. It had the Shita, which was the most open to the universe state of mind, where we absorb everything. It had the Ankara, where we are focused on the person living and on top of this body, the ego, the one that has the likes and dislikes, the one who has their habits and who becomes so identified with a sense of self that kind of disconnects with that Shita.
Yeah.
Then there was manas, that has to do with the body's sensory perception. The manas is what processes the information that comes in through the senses, through the gates of the body, through the five senses, the touch, the smell, the eyes, the seeing, the taste, the hearing. And there was also another state of mind we talked about was the intellect, the buddhi, where it's where we put the information inside and we create logic, reason. We create ways we understand deeper things about ourselves, our environment, and about the universe. Like, create so much of information. We absorb so much of the knowledge, and what we call also wisdom. Sounds like it's superior to knowledge, but it's just refined knowledge, maybe. Even this buddhi, this intellect, has a limited capacity for information. If we have a computer here, there's like a hard drive, this crazy, the information, 20 giga back in the day was the maximum.
Giga
20 giga back in the day was like, an iPod with 20 giga was a lot.
Já era muito. I remember when one was a lot.
One was a lot, 2 gigas. Now it's like 64, 180. It's the same thing, like same size. I don't know about it. But there's still a limitation. And so from that standpoint of ourselves, we gather all this information. And today the topic is the intelligence, the organic intelligence of the body. So it's not like there is an operator in the body that can identify with a sense of self, that drives through a complex amount of information and logic and reasons to work things, to make the puzzle in the body work. But it's more like the body has this connection with the universe, this own process and chain of events that naturally just organically works, So scientists nowadays, atoms have traveled throughout endless light years to reach us to form our body. So our body actually is a junction of millions of atoms that travel all over the world, and they met each other here in our body, and they function with each other in this format of body, human body. And throughout that process, the body has an intelligence to work its ways around the living earth. You know? So, if observing this intelligence, we are always bringing our conscious mind with such limited information on top and trying to control the ways of the organic and innate intelligence of the body, how does the body how will it function? You know, if there is this such vast aligned mechanics that we are sitting on top, and we come in with just a few years of conscious rationality on top of it. I'm 29. I've been like 20 years consciously absorbing information because I've been choosing. And before that, I was absorbing anything that my spirit was like attracted to. And then I'm given myself to drive the machinery of like the cosmic body so vast with such limited information on myself. How will I be able to conduct this this body's program? You know. To think about this, you can just think about it. We breathe, and there's a part of our autonomous nervous system that works itself naturally. Just breathes in, breathes out. The heart is beating all the time. We don't need to be consciously observing it all the time. The digestive system is working itself out. Our immunity system, which is alive and well, okay, we try to convince us sometimes that it's not. It's also bringing the white cells up to date to the common virus that are around us. So there's all this intelligence working inside of us that is kind of making our life possible in the environment we're in. And taking this in account and trying to remember that we don't want to consciously move the schema, move the system of the organic intelligence of the body is the most humbling thing we can do for ourselves at some point. And by doing that, we can step a bit back and observe how the body heals when we are with some cut. Instead of going there and try to cure and put product cover, like you were saying earlier, just leave the cut open, wash it with the seawater, I don't know, then the body will heal. We'll understand better how the body works, and we'll be able to intervene better as we understand how it works. And today there is a lot of, we try to go artificially fix everything. Everything. A knee is broken, next week we're putting a false knee in it. The lung is not working, we're making our immunity system just focus on the lungs, for example. And what about the other things? Maybe it takes a little bit to heal because the body, instead of focusing 100% of the attention on the lungs, is working everything else around to support the lungs, and then gradually, maybe a month or two, you're back, and everything else will be back and you'll be ready for all kinds of different threats to your life.
And sometimes the cause of the symptom is not the symptom itself.
Exactly. Treating symptoms, not treating the root cause of disease. This means that we are observing the intelligence of the body and understand why would the body show this symptom? Why would the body show this pain in our practice? Why would the body show this soreness of the muscle? Maybe it's telling us something. The symptoms are telling us something. Maybe we should act it, relax, find the correct alignment for the pain not to come up again. Breathe, oxygenate. Maybe someone needs to stop, to take a break.
Let go emotional stress that we accumulate.
Just like we are now observing with a newborn, it's incredible. The baby is born, it doesn't take much for the baby to just take it the first. By the time the baby comes out of the womb, by the time the skin touches the air, it starts to activate. It doesn't activate before. It activates when the air touches the skin. In that time, the digestive system starts to process the water that is inside of it, and there is excretion. Just like that. It's not a knowledge-based. We didn't study for it. It was just working. No. Shit.
And amazing, like when the baby is born, sometimes they put on the belly of the mother, and they walk to the way to the boob so they can breastfeed. And they do this themselves.
This is the most.
Even the birth itself, they do a turn. So they have to be exactly in that position, and they do a turn. So the head goes, and then they turn, and the arms and the rest of the body goes because of the bone.
So the pelvic bone.
The pelvic bone.
The best way for the baby to come out is in a certain position
with the head facing.
And he does like almost at the same point.
It is
shooting side. So that the top of the head goes and everything else. If it's the chin out. So there's a whole organic structure of the body designed for the ways of the body to live. And to observe this in the last couple of months through pregnancy and then labor. And now postpartum, like we said, the baby on top of the mother's belly. It doesn't take long for the baby to smell, to sense, to feel hormones, to see it's like a target, to see the target, and it goes on top and starts the mouth is already engaging the suction almost automatically, and it feeds itself. So there's this natural instincts of the body to work itself out. And I am positive to think that if a newborn has those instincts in the first days, a child also has some instincts of the body to develop its mind, because the brain is part of the body, and the function of the brain is to use our mental activeness. And it will also be, the body will also be comfort to help us through puberty, to mature as adults, to develop as adults, to live an adult life, and to age, old age, and all of that. So the problem I see in society is that there is much intervention to how the body works, to how the body yields, to the process that is going.
And so much fear.
So much fear around the signs that the body gives, right? And from an Ashtanga yoga perspective, there is a very fantastic intelligence on how the sequences and the asanas are made up together. The vinyasas and the asanas are made up together. And that brings about, that is made in alignment with the intelligence of the body, in a way that's supposed to awaken the natural instinct of the body, to realign the body to a natural way, to enhance its natural rhythm. The way that we move in vinyasas is a very organic way, where we inhale, we expand, we open, we move up, we exhale, we go down, we relax, we go forward, we close. So the idea is that the sequence is an intelligent way to connect with the innate intelligence of the body. but at the same time we shouldn't try to understand this complex relationship between a sequence of asanas that are designed to open the body throughout a daily practice, disciplined daily practice, throughout many years. We should understand that both parts are complementing each other. So, the idea that our body knows what to do at all times should not be imposed with our notions of how the body should work. For example, if we're setting ourselves to the sequence and asanas of the practice, and there is a pain that happens to one side, and there is a pain that doesn't happen to the other side, doesn't mean we need to fix the pain on the one side and not do the twist or the posture to the other side. We can just sit back and observe what the body is doing, trying to restructure and to rebalance both sides or both parts of the postures. We don't need to go and to try to work. There's a process. The body was exposed to this particular challenges. We don't need to try and to work things out. We need to find ourselves to a certain limit, face our limitations, and then observe and allow the body to restore itself.
This doesn't mean hurting yourself.
It's interesting. We can just let go the control sometimes of how things are supposed to work. The force, and we to put so much of our energy in stuff and let go. The body is open. That's why the Ashtanga we memorize and we go through the vinyasa. Sometimes we don't need to put an extra strength in it because we have absorb the sequence and the logic of it. We just need to put enough amount of energy, not the conscious and forcefully go and grab and push. Just go down and find both extremes a bit closer and then read and move softly with things. Allow the environment of the world to work with you because we're not doing things alone. There's always the outside part of ourselves, of our body that works with us. In practice, doesn't seem much, but we have air that we breathe in and out, oxygen. We have gravity against the floor. Of course, the visual perception of what we're doing and what we're not doing also helps. In life, we have so many things that help us to keep in the right path. The environment will keep us right, will make our body engage certain systems and activations throughout the day or the seasons. For example, if you think about it, at night we rest, during the day we're more awake. That's supposedly, for some types of body, that's how it works. So there's like hormone released in the evening when the sun sets, kind of letting us know to relax, so the body's kind of aligning to that. When the sun rises, the sun, if we're exposed to the sun, we're kind of feeling more awake, and that's how it's supposed to be feeling. I mean, if we keep many years during our student life just inverting the things, then it will be hard to get it back. But in my experience, it does get back. We do get excited when the sun is raising up. We are advised to, and we've been doing it, don't close, when the baby sleeps in the day, don't close the windows, let the baby feel that it's light, it's daylight.
So they can know when it's night and day.
And they will self-regulate to night and day cycle. Throughout the seasons of winter, spring, summer, autumn, the body also receives, it's like the plants, they also receive information. One of the information is the temperature. When the plants in spring feel a certain level of temperature, they will start to bloom. They have received from the outside information, their body connects with that information, it will release it's not hormones, it's enzymes and all that, to start flowering, to start rooting, to start fruiting. And then the same part in autumn when the temperature goes down, the plants, some plants, non-persistent plants will release the leaves, will leave, will ground, will go to sleep, hibernate with the winter. So there's all this connection. It's not just about how we are dealing with ourselves. The body works with a system that is very complex, that includes the vast majority of stuff around us, you know, from the stars to here. If we believe in astrology, astrologia também é uma coisa que...
Não.
Estás a apanhar aqui algumas coisas?
Sim, estou.
Eu estou a olhar para ti para ver se...
Não, por isso que eu estou olhando para ti também.
Porque eu lembro, uma vez tu falaste da astrologia, estavas a entrar na cena.
Sim, exato.
Eu estava a falar que o corpo também tem uma inteligência que conecta com os movimentos dos astros, da mesma forma que conecta com a lua à noite, com a lua, o ciclo lunar, o ciclo solar, não é?
Exato, e não é isso, é quando tu nasce, tu já nasce num dia e numa altura do planeta que está acontecendo, que vai te levar o resto da vida também.
Exato.
Do que tu nasce como astro, como está a lua, como está o sol, se o sol está para cá. Isso tu carrega nessa energia que está e na verdade também isso está sempre em constante mudança. Né? Essa energia também está em constante mudança e a gente não quer mudar. A gente está bem hoje,
exato,
se a gente estiver bem, o jogo bem.
É uma sequência, vivente, não é?
Se isso muda, que tem que mudar também.
Exato.
Nós somos...
It's talking about how we're born in a certain alignment of the stars, for example, and then throughout our life the stars keep moving in a certain way, and that will affect our life in a certain way as well. And in that way there is openings, novas aberturas de oportunidades, new phases of life coming up. And sometimes in our mind we're stuck in the back.
We don't want to change, we want to stay the same.
We're stuck in the same process, and we're not allowing the new phase, the new season to kind of affect us. Probably the design is to help us through the journey, right? Not to get stuck in a comfort. And through our body's development, it's going to be the same. Like in a couple of months, the baby will start to walk. We'll start to do chakrasana. We'll start to eat something else except mother, and then
she doesn't need me.
It's gonna be something else, you know. And the body is already giving signs to the person inside, the soul, like, okay, we're ready. I'm ready to develop. Are you? And the mind inside has to be like confident. Yeah, I'm ready. Estou pronto para o próximo fase, né? And I think when we're young, like that opening to the next level of development is like, yeah, let's go. Especially if the parents...
They don't have the identity of the self yet.
Not that built one. Not developed or systematically, consciously established. But if the parents or even you guys, everyone around is kind of supporting someone to be ready, to be present in this phase, estar presente nesta fase, so that when the next phase you can leave it and go to the next, this helps us to be present and to
when
develop.
they feel they're secure and they're loved, and so they're ready, more confident.
That's how we think, and even in the Ashtanga practice and all these sequences and asanas, we look for this. We want someone to be happy, focused, present with their challenge right here, right now, and then the next one will be easier, because you're not going to be thinking on the previous one. We don't have 10, 15 series to do if we don't do the first one, it's everything builds up basis, roots of the next level. I think I'm sorry, but this baby newborn is in my mind. It comes out as examples for life. But does it have an ego? I don't know. I think sometimes the baby knows what he wants and she cries just to have the mother next to it. She knows. She's identified with the survival self of like, I want to be sure that the food is around me, mother hug me. It's a sense of security. I think it's hard for us to keep this connection with the intelligence of the body at all times, throughout the seasons and throughout the years, throughout the different cycles of our life, and not being pushed to make rush decisions, to be disconnected with ourselves, and at the same time disconnected with the conscious side of ourselves. We don't have to abdicate of the logic of the business thinking self. Existe lado mais racional da nossa vida que nós queremos estar conectado com, ao mesmo tempo que estamos conectados com o poder do corpo, com a energia do corpo, com a evolução do corpo, não queremos só deixar o corpo, porque senão seríamos iguais aos macacos, super intuitivos, biológicos, só biológicos, e seguíamos essa estrutura orgânica que é ser chefe de matilha, ou não, ou ter a melhor mulher, ter muitos filhos.
It's talking about they're not like monkeys, only with the instinct, only go with the instincts. And I was even observing. Sorry if this motherhood, but it's what's coming and it's yoga. It's really applying what we practice. When I come to the mother, I have this instinct of protection. Even like animal instinct, like not allowing anything that it's like, another person coming, I'm like, no, This instinct came, and because we have this rational side, I can also say, okay, I'm having this instinct, but I know she's safe, and it's okay, no one's going to hurt her, and I'm here. And so I don't allow this to drive my car, I'm like, okay, I'm having this, but I can choose to observe it and not allowing to react on it. Yeah.
So this is incredible. So we have the power to reprogram our organic intelligence in a way that serves the future generations. But if someday we live back in the wild, that instinct must be there to protect from, not be detached to the newborn,
Not also like deny this instinct, like say, okay, I'm listening to you.
Is it reasonable? Is it not reasonable?
And now I can choose, okay, this is not a situation where there is the safety of her is like a compromise, so.
It's just if we ourselves as an entity here can connect with this millions of years or astral and cosmic intelligence, then we're going to be able to connect with intelligence of the body, which is also from that root. Because consciousness being atoms, or consciousness being the entity, the person, they all come from the same place. If we're all in that alignment, we can make the best decision for the future, for our present and future, not being out of disproportionate, não estar desproporcionado, facing the situation of now, keeping in mind that things can get worse. One of the key words of this title of this talk, we gave it was the organic intelligence of the body. One of the key words is organic, and organic is a very fluid term. It's like we're sensitive to the environment, sensitive to ourselves, but still there is frontiers, there's borders of distinctions. Because the body is what it is. Body is my body, is his body, her body. So body creates a sense of individual. It's an individual vehicle. But the way it works, the body is not alone itself. You know, it works in connection with everything. And then another key word is the intelligence. We have to work with intelligence throughout all this complex. And I think trying to think that we understand all the complex ways in which the body works is not possible. We have to say, okay, there's a part of it that I don't know, or is impossible for me to rationalize, to understand every little bit of it, you know. And the more I do a little bit studies about the body and the glands, as glândulas todas do corpo que estão então associadas aos chakras, and then do a little bit of study about the spirituals, Eastern philosophy, Eastern medicine, Indian, Chinese medicine, and you kind of relate everything. You understand that, wow, there's many ways to reach the same conclusion. There's many ways to explain this to other person. There's many ways to activate the function or the healing or the center of the body. We don't have to understand every bit of it. We just have to focus on what we're doing. If we're working something like we're doctors or healers or something, we have to connect with the individual situation of everyone. I mean, I would certainly hope so. But the world is filled with protocols. And protocols are different.
If we connect to ourselves and stay connected, like everything else, it just happens. It's like naturally happens. The instincts are there.
Yeah,
the problem is we disconnect with ourselves.
Yeah.
Because main of it is we don't want to feel what's the uncomfortable things that our body brings us.
But I think there's also, even when we are connected with ourselves and we feel we can be in tune with what the body needs or if it needs to rest or whatever, the external pressure from the jobs, the way society works and all of that, sometimes it is in violence with the body, many times. And for me,
especially as a woman in a patriarchal society.
Exactly.
Because we have cycles and we are not always productive. We have time to rest and we are not allowed to.
Yes, and for me that's where the difficult part is, because if I'm on holidays, I can let my body heal, and I do what it asks me, and I feel it healing.
Yeah.
But when I'm working in the system, and then can be very hard.
Yes. Sure.
Like they will wonder, why don't you take this pill? It gets fixed in 1 hour.
And people who work at night, it's against our nature.
Take that pill every day.
Waking up at night and sleeping in the day, it's the opposite.
But about what you said just in the beginning of this talk about how our body is a part of all of this, I like very much this idea that every day we are, the nature is transforming in ourselves every time we eat and every time we breathe in. The world, the nature outside is transforming itself into us.
Exactly.
And then every time we go to the toilet and we breathe out, we are transforming ourselves into nature. So we are just like a temporary period of time on the movement of things. Like the almond is something, the tree is a fruit, is something that it's here, and then it becomes
learned that thing too.
Yes.
I also learned.
So I am just
It's a cycle.
a transitory part in the.
You, and it could have been chicken, a cow, everyone could have been doing that. Yeah, this is very interesting. And in that cycle of nature, that's why the Vedic knowledge splits things a bit into two different things. The Prakriti, the nature, this is what it is happening. The nature is doing that cycle. And then the Purusha, which is the conscious self, where you are observing that. Right? You are observing that. I don't know if the P was observing that. Was the P observing that?
Observing.
Was the P observing that, okay, I grew up as a P and then I died, then she soaked me and then she ate me, then she digested me, then she pooped me, then I got decomposed, came back as humus in the soil to
That's
fertilize.
not the P anymore, it's transforming the other thing.
That's the P observing that. So that's the very interesting part. And the Vedic knowledge is split in a way that is serving us as a part of nature, where we kind of can do everything to make us thrive in life. And there's the end part of the Vedic knowledge that is focused on the consciousness of the self, and how the self can really observe itself as something that is part of everything. We can be the P as well. Imagine, we just talked about how the P would feel about, or how the P would, what would the P be aware? So yeah, that's a big topic. But it makes us think. I also think, I studied organic farming, and there is, in organic farming, the idea is that you have a farm that is as an internal cycle. You won't need fertilizer from outside, you won't need the food from the outside, you're able to do everything inside. And then you would grow peas, the cow would eat peas, they would poo, you would decompose to make a nice compost that would go back to the soil to grow the peas next year, and that cycle like that. So I always remember I was learning how to decompose the soil, to make sure that there is, to decompose organics, you need to have a certain balance of matter. So it has to be carbon matter and nitrogen matter in an even way, so that they will decompose fast, or in a balanced way, so that the end result is a very balanced fertilizer. And the carbon is supposed to give the bugs and everything, the little worms, the energy to live, and the greens, nitrogen-based things, that is like leaves and all. Carbons are like wood, and the greens are like leaves and soft plant matter. These greens will give enzymes and all of that gives the worm self-defense, fuels the bodies of these worms and bugs and all that. Not giving energy, but giving the structure of their body, you know. So one gives energy, another one gives body, let's say. And throughout all of that, they have energy enough to decompose everything, and by the end they die. And then you get the soil. So you just create a little habitat for them to decompose, and just the nature of things, when everything is done, they die, they goes to. And through that part you gave, this vision of our little part in the whole cycle, sometimes I think about that a lot, like the food I eat in the city, I put in the garbage, I don't know if it goes to the soil, or the poo and pee I do, I don't know what they do. I mean, they clean it somehow. One of the things that keeps me like, why am I doing it? The poo and pee is what makes me think, why am I living in the city. It's very
And the dress that we made is mainly food, and I was used to put it to the earth, back and forth on the hours. And now I'm like, well, it's weird in the plastic.
But they're coming up with some solutions.
Yeah, they have already.
In my street they put compost.
Yeah, they already have.
And they gave to each person compost thing, and we can just put there. I don't know what happens afterwards, but at least they created the flexi created that.
Where?
Here in Paradigma.
Yeah, different parts of the city already have that thing.
Yeah, I think they, like you're saying, you've broken this cycle, right? We broke the cycle, like even our waste, we don't allow our waste to return to the source. And even when we die, it's
We just take, and we don't give to the
when
earth.
we die, we don't even give our bodies back.
Yeah.
Even though we don't need it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like the people.
I feel this topic of the intelligence of the body is vital to our future, because we have to return to that if we're going to rescue ourselves
Yeah.
from everything all this karma that's really built over generations. Now it's coming to.
There is a saying that when this in the sacred feminine, when all the women start to give back her blood to the earth again, no more men have to be killed in wars.
Yes.
It has so much nutrients and
So the nature wants to reclaim some of our blood.
not you,
So
because you
if-
don't bleed, but I mean.
Because women are not giving to the earth, we have to go and bleed in the war.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Men are crucified.
But probably women don't give to the earth because men are disgusted about it. But we go and kill each other in the battle.
Unfortunately, most of the women don't even bleed. Menstrual
Because the
menstruation,
chemical-
just different bleeding from pill. But that's another topic.
Hemorragia de privação.
Hã?
Hemorragia de privação.
Exato.
It takes a bit for create this space. Bit by bit to create the space for us to acknowledge the cycle or the intelligence that there is in the body. And just like we said, nature and society is part of the whole body. So the body is part of a larger body. The earth is the body. The earth has its ways of working. We have to understand how to flow through it. And sometimes, you read about the nervous system and how there's two parts of the nervous system. One that relaxes us and gets us back to a calm and even emotional state, heart rate, and gets us back to a centered way. And another one that kicks in when there's danger, or when we start fighting, or when we need to move quickly in a survival way. So there's this part of our body that is designed to really do that fast, to react, to protect, our pupils dilate, our bloodstream is moving, even our muscles get fucking stronger. Yeah. They really get stronger, like out of nothing. And we can look back, zoom out. The earth has a bit of this. During winter, there's a bit of contraction, there's cold, there's everything closes in, the air is not so warm. Our bloodstream, because of the cold, is moving a bit slower, In the summer, there's heat, our bloodstream moves so fast. We feel light, there's space, there's expansion. So it seems like what is in our body is outside as well.
Even the little cycles in the moon, when it's full moon, The body has more water. It's different when it's new moon. You feel like harder to move, more tired. It's interesting.
I feel the reason why we even have these postures, why we have to go through the postures is, in my mind, it's because we are conditioned to distrust the body. The baby has all, is intact with the intelligence of the body, but when we grow up, we are repeatedly told to no, distrust, deny, suppress, and it's after all these years of doing postures, I'm still struggling with hips, and I know the source of the problem is I'm told as a child to sit in a chair for hours, and that is normal. That is how a healthy person must be. But again, now you are told, pretend the pain doesn't there, pretend the discomfort is not there, and then on to your adulthood. Now it's like, how do I recover and return to this and learn to trust it? That's the big task.
And even to observe that every day is different, right? You do the same practice and every day is different.
Yeah.
So around our 6 years of age, it's not only physical, like your example, but our mind also starts absorbing some mental patterns from our surrounding. Like mentally, we start absorbing some belief systems.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
We don't start absorbing mental patterns at age 6. They start solidifying after age 6.
Exactly.
They start before.
Yeah, sure. That's a good
Point.
point.
They start since even before we were born, actually.
Yeah, the belly.
Of course.
So
They start to. What I mean for a pattern is the solidify.
Okay.
Pattern is the word that remains for that. Of course, everything starts to be there. It's not like a pattern. It goes away. It's there. It's not there. Well, then they start acting in a habit, num hábito. Torna-se hábito. It starts to stay inside, solidify, like you said, subconsciously.
That's an interesting choice of words, solidifying, because it's already telling you it's coming into the body.
Exactly.
Yeah, the older you get, the more solid it becomes.
Yeah.
And it's harder to break it.
And in yoga, they say the body is the crystallized form of the mind. There's no separation. So when the pattern is happening again and again, it becomes part of your body.
Yeah.
But also we know that we have brain plasticity
Exactly.
throughout our entire life. So even if we have
I'm not saying we can't change it, I'm just saying it's harder to change it.
Yeah, but
You don't forget,
but it's a true fact. The fact that after age 6 we solidify more is because our brains are more like able to process denser stuff.
yes.
It doesn't mean that we're not able to change that denser stuff for more light, more open patterns of thought. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't have that point of life where we're able to grasp bigger visions of life. It means that maybe we should. It's
In our
also
mind,
about
it's-
education and system.
And our mind is so powerful. When we believe that we cannot change, we will not change. You know, and when we believe we can, and it's just bringing awareness, and we can change. And I had epilepsy before, and doctors told me that I had to take pills for all my life, and I didn't
Doctors
believe
say
it.
that, it's usually not true.
Yeah, so many things, and we can always choose. I mean, of course, you have to see.
Up to the point that
Yeah.
the pattern allows us to choose.
Not saying that hurt yourself or whatever, but I've seen so many cases of people like with illness and even cancer or whatever, and they change their lifestyle. It's not just the mind, but it's choosing what you want for yourself. You know?
So like you said, the body is the crystallization of the mind. So it's kind of like solidifying the mind. And whatever we do in our life with our body is also part of that process, right? So that's what we call lifestyle. It's just style. It's just like really solidifying your belief system on our minds.
Through the choices.
Can we use your word? Vamos usar a tua palavra, solidify. And even the objective of yoga, in Yoga Sutta says, is to bring the solidify. The word crystal is there, to make our body as transparent as a crystal.
Break patterns of the mind.
And that means the crystal, you can see through, a see-through crystal, something you can see. But we're not holding an image there, we're here for a slide. You know the slides? You put light, and then in the slide is designed the whole context of our life. And it goes, we should be like a transparent slide, a fluid water that flows through.
That's why it was very interesting when she says, you can always choose. But can we always choose? I think there's something that comes up against the body. And there's an analogy, it's not mine, but I was told, Gregor Vela, he's known as Ashtanga teacher. He says that these patterns, these programs, right? We take on these programs in the moment we are born, and they exist in the body, in the mind, and in the breath. And if we try to resolve the program in just one of those three areas, it comes back from the other areas, and then it it's like a computer, right?
It's because it didn't go to the source.
Yeah. Well, it's like a computer analogy to the hard disk, the RAM, which is the dynamic memory, and then there's the program that's actually software, right? And the interface between the hardware and the software, and like the mind, the breath, and the body. It's beautiful how the analogy exists there. But that's the beauty of this practice. I think Ashtanga is like the breathing, the movement, and the focus, the calm attention. It allows us to resolve these programs. It takes a long time, but it works.
Yeah, sometimes even without realizing. I understood that, like in my life, I've been practicing Hatha Yoga or whatever, and after practicing Ashtanga, I saw like how through my day to day, some patterns were not. I mean, not triggers were not there anymore, or they were softer, and I didn't even realize why. I was like, I feel so much freer and more myself just by practicing, because maybe it goes through. It's so intelligent that you just through the challenges of the practice and facing it and changing the mind pattern. Because I change it, sometimes I'm like, oh, I cannot do this. No, I can do this. I'm trying and I can do this. I'll do the best I can. All this, and breathing, okay, this is just a sensation. This is just a sensation. It's like Vipassana, but with uncomfortable postures, And this results into, through my day-to-day, I observed that some triggers were not there, or they were there, but so soft that I wouldn't react to them anymore. This is the reprogramming the mind. Yeah.
But sometimes we have to start on a more superficial level. There's different kinds of approaches, different kinds of people that seek change in a different way. We can start in another. In Ashtanga is very clear. We start in one way, and we solve some of the triggers in some postures, but then they come up later, a bit later, in a different form. Maybe they're closer to the source. It's a tricky way.
The mind is slippery.
Yeah.
But at least the body has the truth.
Exactly. You can go for the body to see what comes up, to see what it's holding. Even our attitudes, the way we say, the tone we give, the way we think, the voice inside can be mirrors for all the states of our life, of ourselves. But going to the source is a bit hard when so much about the outside is being pressured to us.
Can I say something?
Yes.
It's actually really easy.
Yeah, it's true.
When you experience those triggers, what I do, and what helped me throughout my life, and the reason why I'm not panicking right now that someone might kill me because of my past, is because when I experience the trigger, I literally stop everything I'm doing and I go straight with the emotion. That is the doorway to the subconscious mind. That is the doorway to the memory that caused you that trauma. You alter the memory, you don't experience the trigger anymore.
It's true.
I used to think that my family and the people around me were incredibly abusive. I mean, I'm talking the kind of people who wanted me dead. So, not exactly very friendly. And I used to go around thinking that it was normal that people carried around knives and they were just ready to kill each other. I'm not thinking that right now. Otherwise I wouldn't even be here. For example. I mean, it's just one of the basics.
But it makes sense, but you said something very important, that you were able to stop everything that you were doing. And what we're saying
I
that...
will literally stop in the middle of the street if I need to.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is that when people are in this program of city society life, they're 35 years old, and they've been working for 15 years. Stopping is not such an easy task.
I'm not saying quit your job, I'm saying like,
No,
even if you're working, like sit down and what's going on right now.
Yeah, but
People have lost that. Like they don't.
Exactly.
They don't know what's going on in their body. Like right now, my entire body is shaking. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is.
Dissociation.
Almost. I'm trying not to dissociate it right now. It would be really easy for me to just. It's one of the reasons. I mean, my family hated me because I can look at people and see really easily when they're lying. When they're consciously lying, or when they are unconsciously lying, because there's the two things. And they hated me for it because they are very manipulative people that I grew up around with. So I was a threat that needed to go away. I didn't even know where I was going with this.
Thank you for sharing.
Maybe the emotion.
The emotion, yeah.
Maybe the emotion.
As the gateway to our deeper subconscious patterns. I think it's having clear, sharp minds. The practice also helps us to discern, go straight to the root cause, right? And from there on pacify the rest. Anything you want to share? Anything else? Qualquer coisa que queira partilhar? Partilhar alguma coisa? Assim para terminar.
There's this sentence that I love, which is, you can only be authentic or conscious to the degree that you know yourself.
Yeah, of course.
So, if you really want to be authentic, you gotta get to know yourself. Even in those moments where you want to walk out the door, like, what do you really need from me, or
But it makes total sense. It can only be authentic if you're connected to the truth inside of us.
And it can be really beautiful, and it can be really For example, I used to
That's the perspective you take on
I used to think that I wasn't really good at speaking to people, explaining things when I was a child. And that was just because, well, I was threatened with my life if I spoke the truth. Turns out I love speaking, I love writing books, for example. In school, I studied science. That's totally me. No. Completely false identity.
Yeah. That's one thing, part of the system. We should choose sites, choose areas of life. I think we're all multitask. For sure.
That statement, you must get to know yourself, and it's an interesting statement because I always thought who I am is the content of my mind. And I know my thoughts, I know who I am. But I'm very humble now to realize that I'm just standing on this doorway to this vast journey of emotions and feelings and instincts. Oh, that's who I am.
No.
You are the observer of it all.
You are both.
Yeah.
You are
Or
your
even
mind.
not that, or perhaps not even not that, because those are also events that,
Based on the past.
no, for example, the emotion or feeling something that comes to you and
After
is in
something.
you for a while and then
Yeah,
goes.
That, yeah, then it
Yes.
goes, yeah.
So perhaps you are even the part of you that is underneath
Digesting
all of
the
that. That
Just observes
and just
see it all.
is the container of all food that can come and go.
Yeah, I'm just talking referring to the psyche and how it's just it's psychosomatic, right? There's no just psyche. It's like that. Yeah. I don't know what you mean. I wish I could be that enlightened, but and that was my initial journey to yoga, was all about that, and then I found myself disassociated.
What is enlightenment?
That's a big
Yeah, this is also a bit
No, because everyone is talking about enlightenment, love, fear, and sometimes people don't even know what that is.
To me, the term just enlightenment refers to your awareness of your universal identity. You're just,
What is the universe?
there's no separation. Right? So to me, that is enlightenment versus. But there's another journey all different from that.
There's different.
You can't separate the universe from yourself.
You can, or
You can't.
you can't. Yeah, exactly. So that's totally to me that's the enlightenment. That's the moment when you realize.
To know the universe is to know yourself.
But
There is
there's
no difference.
But that
I mean, scientifically, like astronomically, astrologically, because the mind can approach these topics in a very different way.
Spiritually,
That's why there is different currents of thought.
yeah, 100 years from now, spirituality and science won't be separate things because we will realize there is no
1,000 years
separation.
ago, they were not separate.
I don't mean in that sense. I don't mean a new religion. If mankind wakes up enough, the barrier between science and spirituality will disappear. We will develop tools that will allow us to measure and see other dimensions in this universe. Which means what we call spiritual right now won't be spiritual. It will be scientific.
Or probably what we call science is not science, it's spiritual.
So what is
That's why I like the
spiritual or
Deepak
science?
Chopra. Is the new bridge between. Yes, Deepak Chopra.
Não, eu não estudo muito, porque eu
É um
estudo por mim mesmo.
Sim, sim, mas há
Constantemente, mas I study through me.
You study what?
Through me, myself. I don't really read stuff. People think I read a lot of stuff, but I don't.
In yoga, the term is swadhyaya.
But Swadhyaya is study the sacred Bhagavad Gita, knowing yourself through the...
A little translation. I mean, there's a debate on that. Do they mean you study yourself or you study by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you're studying yourself because you're knowing yourself through this.
Yeah.
No, I think
knowledge.
Both of
Yeah, both.
I think it's self-knowledge, knowledge of yourself.
Yeah,
study the
self-knowledge.
is the truth.
Yeah.
But then there are others. We're all part of the same consciousness. It's like we're thinking together. Guys, let's be together. Let's think about it. Let's brainstorm about something, about ourselves. We can all do that.
Bring new perspectives.
We can all do that. It's brainstorm. So sometimes good authors to read is nice. It takes us out of our study alone, and then when we come back to study alone, we come back with a different, let's observe this or that. Let's chant a closing mantra and finish here. Purnamadaya